Tuckwell. He's a former Conservative MP, and he was the successor to Boris Johnson as the MP for South Ruislip and Oxbridge. And Steve scored a famous victory in a by-election there, but then lost his seat at the general election. Steve, it's great to have you on the programme. Tell me your thoughts about the fact that Sadiq Khan is now Sir Sadiq Khan. Presumably you're not too happy about that.
Well, I think it's astonishing, and I'm absolutely baffled as to how, a reward for failure can be given to the Mayor of London. If you look at his track record in London since he's been in power since 2016, I think every single metric that he's responsible for, he's failed on, whether that's crime's gone up, he's missed housing targets, we've seen dysfunctional transport policies, and we've also seen, his part of council tax has gone up over 70% since 2016. So, we should be looking at these very special honours reserved for unique achievements in society, whether that's public service, for bravery, for charity work. And we've seen that in the honours list. But for this particular award, there'll be many people in outer London.
Are they actually reserved for those people, Steve, though? Because we've seen people like Sean Bailey, for example, who didn't make it to be Mayor of London, who went to the Lords. We've seen Gavin Williamson in your party, who's someone who was seen to be a very bad education secretary. He got a knighthood. I mean, this is what all political parties do, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think when you look at Sadiq Khan's track record in London, he's abysmal. It's devastated the nighttime economy. We've seen taxes increase. We've seen the transport system brought to its knees with the Piccadilly line and Central line, and we've seen crime soar through the roof. So, how can the establishment be rewarding failure of this magnitude?
Some might argue that's what the Conservative Party did as well. But listen, let's talk more broadly about the Conservative Party. What does Kemi Badenoch need to do in 2025 to get her mojo back a little bit? There are people saying, look, she's only been there for maybe 10 weeks or so, maybe not even as long as that. Let's just give her a bit of a chance. But there are definitely Conservatives that I've spoken to who say, like, something needs to change pretty rapidly here. What's your view? What's your take on this?
Well, certainly the general election result was very bruising for the Conservative Party. I know from experience, as I'm a former MP now. But we also had a very clear and good quality leadership election with 6 really good high quality candidates, and it was a long period, but we came out with Kemi as our leader. And one of the things we need to be doing now is getting behind her, giving her the time to take stock of the situation that we're in and really renew the party and win back the public trust. And I had very close links with Kemi during my time in Parliament, and I've seen firsthand her determination, her willpower, her stamina, and she will be the person that's going to sort of, like, as you say, get the Conservative Party's mojo back.
But you sort of say will in future, and maybe she will, and maybe that's what will happen in 2025. But has she made a good start, do you think? Has she really changed anything so far, or maybe it just sort of takes time a little bit?
Well, I think the latter is very key here, and I think we do need to be taking time. As I said, it was a bruising general election defeat, and we need to be really looking deep into the soul of the Conservative Party to understand what went wrong, learn from the mistakes that were made, and be ready to really renew right from the bottom up, involving our members, involving the public. Winning that public trust back is really important so that we are ready with good quality policies, and then we're ready to govern whenever the next election is called.
We will hear, I would imagine, from Kemi Badenoch tomorrow. She'll have a New Year's message, as will Sir Keir Starmer as Prime Minister. But today we've heard from Nigel Farage. I just want to play a little bit of what he has said in his New Year's message.
I want to say this to you. If you agree with what we're trying to do, don't just sit back and nod. Do something about it. Join those 150,000 people who've already joined our party, because I promise you this, the only way we win, the only way we mend broken Britain, the only way we get reform in our country that so badly needs it, is if you, who agree with us, join our people's army.
So that's Nigel Farage asking people to join Reform UK. Of course, many people have, and they have more members, they say, than the Conservative Party, certainly in regard to what's on the public record, and there has been a bit of a row about that. He also talked about a country in decline.
Well, I think we've certainly seen, some disasters.
The fish rots from the head down. We have been appallingly led in this country now for several decades. We are in societal decline. We are in economic decline. Most people are getting poorer with every year that passes. We're losing any sense of national identity. And we're actually teaching kids at school that people like Winston Churchill, born in this palace, are bad people, and that our country's history is something to be ashamed of.
Steve, the constituency you represented there in South Ruislip and Oxbridge, there will be, I know it's very split between Conservatives, Labour and Reform UK. Do you disagree with anything that Nigel Farage has said there?
Well, I think one of the things that Nigel is very good at in his politics is pointing at problems. And I think the thing that he doesn't have and he lacks is the substance of, what he's actually going to do about the problems that he's continually pointing at. What we'll see with Kemi is we'll see, a proper review, a proper renewal of the Conservative values, and we'll see those policies come out in the coming weeks and months that will chime with the electorate, not just the members, but the people that actually vote as well. And we'll see that come through. Now, if you look at the by-election, the number of council by-elections that have happened since the general election, I think the Conservatives have won 83% of those council by-elections, and that actually says something. So I think we need to be continuing with that message, continuing to renew our policies and continuing to hold this Labour government to account after a very disastrous start to their tenure in government.
Steve, thank you very much indeed. That is Steve Tuckwell there. He's a former Conservative MP. And we talked about Reform UK, we talked about the Conservatives, talked a little bit about the Liberal Democrats and, of course, Labour as well.